one good song.
Yesterday afternoon, one of my parents walked past me in the lobby of my homeschool program. Her daughter was in music and theater was next. This child only takes a couple of classes at my place. And she just walked past me, and she normally stays in the building. And she said, "I have to go. I have goosebumps." And I looked at her and she said, "There's a bomb threat at my son's school." Her son goes to one of the best schools in the county. This child doesn't have to be in public school. He doesn't have to be in high school. He was already accepted into college after 8th grade. Yes, these kids exist. But he wanted to have a high school experience before going to college. And so he is in the best magnet school in our county, probably one of the best schools in our state. And there's a bomb threat at his school. Mom came back because I was just ready to just be there all afternoon or into the evening waiting for her to come back to retrieve her daughter. And by the way, they had homeschooled through 8th grade and decided, that his next step would be this exclusive magnet school. After much going back and forth, because he really is college ready. But she came back after about an hour and a half, looking like she'd lost 10 pounds and aged 10 years. She was so brokenhearted. She was so dejected. She was so defeated because her family bullied her into putting him in public school. And so when she got her hands on him, she asked him if he would go back to homeschool, and he said no. I wanted to hold her. She's not a touchy-feely type, so I didn't touch her. It just breaks my heart when a parent overrides their instinct to do what the family wants when their instinct was right. Now, 10 days ago, I made a video that said, are they really safer by homeschooling? And for all intents and purposes in the world, I don't really believe that's the truth. But in this culture, right now, I have some concerns. I have some serious concerns. Look I've had my car worked on twice, and it still got this rattle. So this video is dancing. It might be partially the road I just went over because it's newly paved, but seeing that it's newly paved, that rattling shouldn't have happened. So anyway, yeah, it's time for a new car. Anyway, the net is that it just breaks my heart when a parent overrides their instinct, when their instinct was right. Because in this current culture, this child was probably safer at home. I guess this is a confessional type of day. So the homeschool program I run is in a suite of converted office warehouses, which means there are 5 suites, and each suite has an office when you enter, followed by 1 or 2 bathrooms, and then a warehouse space. I have 2 of these spaces. One was converted better than the other. So my first space on the corner has an office, a hallway, a big office walk-in, a hallway, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen because it was a printer's before, and so it was a dark room, and now it is my kitchen, and then a converted office we turned into a library. So it's really nice. Suite B has same big entry room, big converted warehouse. So 2,000 square feet in all. And it's been a good place to run a homeschool program. It has. It's quirky. It's cavey. It's fun. It's just kind of a place to chill and a place to learn. there are 5 suites. I have to. The person next door to me had to. She moved into a better space and she sublet her 2 spaces. One to an upholsterer and one to a person who resells seconds type things. So she always has the parking lot full of lawnmowers and all kinds of neat things for sale. And it looks like she does really good business. And from what I understand, it's her second spot. But here's the thing. She always has her kids with her. As a homeschooler, her older kid came to me and wanted to use our program, but she decided that we weren't free, so she didn't want to use our program. Whatever. It is what it is. But she has a teenager with her who's always working and overschooling. And she has like a 4-year-old with her who is wild as heck. And she has a doodle. And the doodle was whipping through the parking lot, always being in danger of getting hit, whipping across the street, always in danger of being hit, whipping because it's not just commercial, it's commercial residential, whipping through the yards of the people all around, and making a big scene. And someone called the landlord and complained. And I noticed she was giving me the cold shoulder. And because someone said they make a lot of noise and they have dogs on premises that are unruly. And the kids are outside acting crazy because the kids be outside acting crazy. And she's been giving me the cold shoulder for a while. And I said something to her one day and she said, well, some of us work for a living. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say. It was summer, so I wasn't, my very reduced hours. That was just weird. And then a couple of months later, I tried to speak to her again. And here's the thing. She speaks to my business partner all the time. She speaks to my business partner's husband all the time. Friendly as all get out. I've been friendly with her. I've given her things. I'm like, I have too many planters to decorate the front. Do you want one to decorate your front? Like that. Like, because why not? Right? Why not? And then, so she said something like, well, somebody's been reporting us. And I wonder who it is. And I was like, I have no idea. Could it be this person, that person? No, everyone here likes me. Everyone here likes me. And then she looked me up and down and was like, but Karma's a bitch. And I was like, that's weird. But I had told my business partner before that something's up and that lady can't stand me. She's just started treating me differently. My business partner's like, she's chill. Whatever. So, yesterday, a week ago, and I remember because it was the first time my car was acting up, I noticed this oil slick coming up all the way up the road from the main road into my parking lot. And there was a car parked in a corner. So I recognized that some car had trouble and pulled in right there. And then yesterday, my business partner's husband said, hey, I spoke to the people in Suite D and they're really pissed about that, those 2 cars there. I'm like, 2 cars? Yeah, there's one up on Jack's. I'm sorry. We're a professional business and you have cars up on Jack's in my parking lot. So whoever owned the first car that broke down brought over a second car and they were using the space to work on both cars. So I sent the landlord pictures and was like, this is weird. I wonder what this is about. I thought it was someone in the neighborhood. I thought it was somebody from one of the surrounding houses had been using our parking lot. Because I noticed that on the weekends, people from the surrounding neighborhood, their guests will use our parking lot. They will. I don't care, I'm not there, right? So I assumed that someone set up shop for the little mechanic side gig in our parking lot. Here's the thing they did. So the landlord at the end of the day is like, oh, I figured it out. Suite D's customer broke down right there and they were just going to be there a couple of days till they got it fixed. And I texted them back. I'm like, because he and I had already discussed that there was 2 cars with matching license plate holders. They were both holographic. They were identical. So whoever broke down there brought their other car there, and now they're fixing both cars on our space. And I'm 1,000,000% sure that she gave them permission. But she got kind of busted. And so, I'm minding my business today, working my ass off, got so much accomplished. And a business partner's husband is like, hey, you're wanted outside. The neighbor and her daughter want to talk to you. And I'm like, why don't they come inside? That's weird. So I step outside, and she's there with her arms folded, and her 14-year-old daughter, who is a good 6 inches taller than me, is standing there with her arms folded, and she's with the guy, the car detail guy, who details their cars across our parking lot. And I spoke to her son about it. I'm like, oh, it's my orientation day. This is not a good time for you to detail your car. You know, if you're gonna have your car detailed, just let me know, and I'll let you know when we're empty, because by FYI, we're never here on Friday, or we're hardly ever here on Friday. So that'd be a great time for you to have your car detailed, right? So the guy starts talking to me, and he says, I just want to show you my truck. Can you come across the street and look in my truck? And I'm like, I ain't looking at no truck, man. I mean, I said that in my head. I didn't say it out loud, especially not like that. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I just want to show you that my truck is self-contained with the water, and that I'm not taking water from your building. And I'm like, I know your truck is self-contained water. I saw you detailing the car. Well, and she goes, well, you told the landlord that you don't want him here because he's taking water from the building, and it's not fair. I said, I don't care what he does. We don't pay the water bill. Like, there's a set amount the landlord charges us a month, and if the water bill goes up, he comes and he does an audit. And we might get, like, some comments about, hey, do you have a leak? You know, or whatever, and let me come check all your toilets for leaks. Like, that's what happens if our water bill goes up. You know what I mean? And everyone gets the message, and the water bill goes back down. So I'm like, why do I even care? Water is not my problem. And I saw him washing the car with water from his truck. Well, you've got a problem. You've got a problem. Ma'am, I am 56 years old, and I don't have a problem. Well, someone's been complaining about us. And the child is like, yeah, you've got a problem. What's your problem? I teach teenagers, so I'm really good at, like, glancing at a teenager and deciding that I'm going to ignore this human because I'm not going to engage with a child. And this lady is just in my face trying to goad me into acting crazy. And so my daughter, because she teaches at my program, walks up and goes, if my mom had a problem with you, she would tell you. She's very transparent, because that's the truth. I'm compulsively honest. And if I had a problem with you, I wouldn't call the landlord. I would tell you. And the only reason I texted the landlord about the cars is because I did not think that she had invited them there. I thought someone from 2 or 3 houses down, or 2 businesses down, were setting up a mechanic thing in our space. I really didn't think it was her. And she's trying to goad me into acting uncouth and uneducated, and I don't get it. So the landlord said it was you. The landlord said it was you. I said, okay, here's what's about to happen. Since you're worried about me calling the landlord, I'm gonna go ahead and call him right now. Well, we can call him together. I'm like, no, I'm done talking to you, madam, because you are a wall. You're a wall. Because you asked me a question, I opened my mouth, and you started screaming at me. And I'm talking to a wall, not having this conversation. I took my behind aside. I get inside. All my biggest students are like, let's go. And I'm like, if y'all don't go sit down. If y'all don't go sit down. I have this big girl. Big, you know, she's almost 18. And I have this boy who's 17. And they're like, you need backup. And I'm like, if y'all don't go sit down. And their energy was just hyped for a while. And I had to call my room. I'm like, please bring your energy down. she stressed me out, and I want to let it go. So bring your energy down so we can all just chill out, you know? So I wanted to follow up with the landlord because I called the landlord and told him what happened. And I said, I'm not dealing. He's like, just call the police. I'm like, that's childish. That's childish. Plus, the police hang out at her store because her ex-husband was a police officer. And they all know each other. Whatever that means. I don't know what the frick that means. But, you know, she's mentioned that police are often there. They're not there as much as they used to be, but they're often there. And hanging out, just saying hi, whatever. I'm like, I'm not calling the police. She's friends with the police. These are things I'm not doing. And so I called him later and I'm like, do we have a resolution? And he's like, apparently there's a miscommunication. She just wanted to show you the detailing truck. And I'm like, and then you responded badly, and it's her word against yours. And I was like, first of all, I have witnesses. Second of all, she was acting crazy in front of my most prestigious client, because I have a couple of very prestigious parents. And now they're not going to feel safe with their kids in the homeschool program with the next door neighbor's rabid. As in rabies, rabid. And I said to him, I said, okay, that's not what happened. She's acting unhinged. But what you need to do is tell her when I've called on her and when I haven't called on her. Because I've never called on her directly. I've called about things. If they just happen to be her shenanigans, that's on her, right? Like maybe 2 calls in 18 months. Like, why are these cars here on Jack's? That's weird. Like that. Because I literally am not thinking about nobody. Ever. And he's like, well, you just have to call the police. It's not a landlord issue. I said, okay. Understand? I feel like I cannot conduct professional business in this space. And so I'm going to be looking for a new spot. Oh, no, we respect you and your business and the way you do business and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, you just have to ignore her or let her know that she's not to speak to you and you're not going to speak to her. And that's just how it has to be. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Let me tell you something. Somebody could be in that parking lot, as long as they're not in front of my spaces, making my particular business look bad. They could be in there blowing up dynamite and I wouldn't let him know. I wouldn't let him know. Because it was disrespectful of him to do the hands-off, not my problem deal. When he knows that people are constantly calling on this person and she's decided to turn on me. So, yeah. The hazards of running a business. It's okay. I'm working on funding. I've been working with the city planner for a good month. Because honestly, we've outgrown our space. And I've already spoken to the owner, not the manager I spoke to today. I spoke to the owner and asked him if he had a space that was bigger that would suit me. And he's like, no, we really like you here. Yeah, because the space I'm in is hard to rent. It's a little rough around the edges. I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want my students there. I don't want my parents there. I want to rent a space for my homeschool program that is self-contained, and I'm not sharing my parking lot with people who are unpredictable and unhinged. And so that was my day. How was yours? Till next time.